May, I've decided we're not going to have a meeting at all. So people can meet in smaller groups if you want with your, your sponsors and teams and that kind of thing. But between Costa Rica at the end of April into May, and then Guatemala happening in May. May is just kind of chaotic. So we'll renew our meetings again in June. And June will be a wonderful meeting because everybody will have returned from Costa Rica, and I will be back from Guatemala. And so that meeting will be all about sharing those experiences, which will be awesome. I just know. Having gone through it once with coming back from Haiti last year and having that meeting, that post-Haiti meeting, was just, I thought, pretty tremendous, and for you guys to learn and hear the stories. So that's kind of the plan. So I do, luckily I have a gift for Debbie, but it's not her being the host tonight, it's because she won the contest last month. So yeah, this was, I did a little contest last month. I called it Wear Your Heart on Your Sleeve. You guys, as you get to know me, you'll realize very quickly, it becomes very obvious that I was an English teacher for 11 years because everything is like some kind of pun or metaphor or, idiom, or there's always something. So Debbie wore her heart on her sleeve and sponsored and had an incredible month in February. So she won a t-shirt, of course. So thank you, and thank you for hosting this tonight. I'm not going to do any other accolades or housekeeping tonight. We are kind of a small group, and the newsletter just went out today. Does anybody not get the newsletter? Okay. Nobody's ever said that they don't, but I have no way. I just sort of send it out into cyberspace and hope that it goes where it says it's going. But I always get excited because it tells me how many emails were sent. So I always know every Monday exactly how big our group is. And so today it went out to 151 people, which is really exciting. Because in January at the retreat, it went out to 88. So since January at the retreat, we've grown tremendously. And if we keep the same rate of growth, we'll be at almost 600 by next retreat. There's no way we will stay the same because it just continues to grow exponentially. So it's just wonderful and thrilling for our artisans and for Trades of Hope and for you guys and just all of it. And so I'm really thankful that Catherine has been helping us get a little more tech savvy. So we're actually streaming live on the internet right now. But we didn't tell anybody that
with no one watching.
Nobody's watching because we wanted to make sure that it worked and no massive disappointments and blackouts and batteries dying and things like that. We shouldn't have done it for our giant event in February for the first time when Catherine was in Canada and I was trying to do it by myself. So we're streaming, nobody's watching, but we are recording it, which means that we can upload this meeting later onto YouTube so that everybody who's not here can watch it. Because we are in 18 states now, just Small Things, Great Love, and obviously we have a growing group locally. So anyway, we're going to talk tonight about the compensation plan. I think that, I've been talking a lot since the retreat about, I've been saying this phrase over and over again. I talked about it again last night in the Legacy event, that what we have in Trades of Hope is a missional business, right? We have a very strong, powerful mission that we're trying to achieve, and that is to break the cycle of poverty through the creation of sustainable income-generating jobs. That's it. But the only way that we can achieve that mission is to build a successful, sustainable home party business. So that's our vehicle for achieving our mission. So, what happens is sometimes people get so moved and caught up in the emotion of our artisans and the stories and the beauty of changing the world, that they become a compassionate entrepreneur, but then they don't realize or they don't understand or they're not fully ready or even willing to build an actual business. And that's the only way that you can actually do something about the thing that you are so emotional about. Hold on, that's my husband. Got the baby. Hold on. Oh, where is it? In my car. Sorry. He's looking for the baby's little abcmouse.com tablet thing. It's in my car, which is outside, so he's going to be thrilled when he reads that. But I put it on silent, so sorry, hon. I also ate what he was supposed to have for dinner, too, so he's really mad at me. He's like, where's the steak? I'm like, ooh, gone. It's like, really? Yeah, I had it. What are you going to do? Anyway, so I think that it's really important to, of course, you have to have the emotional piece. I mean, that's what makes Trees of Hope different than any other home party company out there, direct sales company out there, because we're not just selling a product, we're selling a story and a product that represents a woman who needs dignified, sustainable work to lift herself up out of poverty, and take care of her family, and send her kids to school, and feed her kids, and rise up and be an empowered woman. So it is so much more than just a product. So you need to have that understanding, of course, and that emotional tie to artisans, but you have to be willing to do the business. And the business is very simple. Home party companies they've been around forever. I don't know, what's the oldest one? Probably Tupperware, I guess. Yeah. And it's a great business model. It's been around. When was Tupperware founded? In like the 50s? Yeah. And it's a very empowering, liberating type of business model for women, especially because it enables you to earn a very lovely income while being totally flexible to take care of your family and your kids. So what's wonderful about Trades of Hope is we're partnering with women who, although their lives are very different than ours, they want the same exact things. They want to be able to care for their kids and have that flexible schedule and have an income that they can rely on, and all the same things that we want. So the business model is proven, and it's wonderful, and it works. When you do parties and you are in a room full of people like this, and you're introducing Trades of Hope, and you're displaying your beautiful products, and you're telling the stories, and they're buying them, obviously, but even more importantly, they're thinking about their parties, and they're thinking about how they want to be a compassionate entrepreneur. And truly, that ripple effect of changing the world, I alone cannot change the world, but I can cast stones to create many ripples. That's it. That's what we're doing as a company. And it works. So it's not just about who can make the most money and get the white Lexus or whatever, which is not the kind of direct sales home party company I want to be in. It's about truly achieving a mission, but then also being within that same business model that allows you to make a lot more money than you would in a normal 9-to-5 kind of job. So that leads me to why I want to talk about the compensation plan, because it's very, very important for what we're trying to achieve. Now, I asked you to print out your own copy. Hopefully you did, because I didn't print them out for you. Hold on. No, he did not say something nice.
Tell them that you're live streaming.
I'm like, ABC now.
Right.
I know.
Tell them to go to the link.
Yeah.
You can watch.
You can talk to me. ABCmouse.com is an app. Like, download it on your phone. I think it's on its phone. Okay, so this document is available. Hopefully you found it so that you can print it out, or hopefully you already had it printed out. But this is a 21-page document that explains in great detail the compensation plan. I don't know about you, but when I first started 2 years ago, of course it was a different compensation plan then, but when I first started 2 years ago and I looked at this page, I was like, I don't even, it's like reading an insurance policy, and who understands those? I do not have a sales background. I have a teaching background. I do not have I sort of have a financial background, but it's kind of a joke in my family because I used to work for SunTrust, and they're like, how did you ever get that job? I'm like, I don't even know, because I'm horrible with numbers and, and that sort of thing. So this was sort of tucked away, and I never really thought about what I was doing, any kind of business strategy or anything like that. But I have changed my tune quite a lot, and this is actually up on my refrigerator now all the time, and that is a recommendation that I make to everyone on my team, to put this up on your fridge for a couple different reasons. You can see the green box that's highlighted, that's the director box. That's my current rank, and that is what I aim to achieve every month. And so I want to keep that front and center. Every time I go to the fridge, there it is. And also, every time I go to the fridge and I look at it, I understand it a little bit more. I can look. I know, like, if I know Veronica, who is at this point a master CE, if I know Veronica's getting pretty close to a promotion and having a really great month, I might need to go back and look. Okay, what does she need for manager? And it's right there on my fridge, and I can look at it and I can learn it. And so I don't have it memorized by any stretch. I still have to look at it all the time. But it does help you. It's like learning another language. I was talking to Marianne about this morning because I needed some clarification on things. But it is. You kind of, it looks like Greek at first, and then you start to speak Greek, and you start to kind of understand what it all means. And it's really not that complicated. So I do think that, putting this page, am I supposed to be frozen?
Let it go.
Are you?
Oh, no, I'm moving again.
Let me turn my speaker.
You're welcome to that.
I know. Okay.
Hi.
Bringing in kids.
So just a couple of things right off the bat that I want to make sure that everybody understands. When you're talking about your title as a compassionate entrepreneur, that is something that once you achieve all of the qualifications in a particular level, you earn that title. And your title stays with you forever until you bump up to the next one, okay? So right now, my title is a director, compassionate entrepreneur, but that doesn't mean that every month I get paid at the level of director compassionate, as much as I would like to, because that is where things really start to get better and exciting. But I strive for that every month, and eventually, hopefully, it will happen just every month. And then obviously I'm also very focused on the next level, which is executive director, which is my goal for this year. We have 3 master CEs in our team right now, Veronica, Crystal, and who's the third? Mary? No. There's more than 2. Are there only 2? Veronica and Crystal. And then I don't know the numbers down from there. There are only 3 directors in the entire company. So there's me here in Florida, there's Jess Artig-Ziegner in Minnesota, and then there's Colleen Beaver, who is in Iowa. I am the newest director, and I'm promoted in July. And so nobody has promoted to director since then. So it's time. We talk about that all the time. We're like, okay, come on, we're due. And some people are getting very close. There are a handful of managers in the company, and all of them are getting very close every month. It's kind of like, okay, is this going to be the month? But you do have your rank forever. But to achieve the being paid at that level, you have to achieve all those qualifications within that given month. So every month you start again at 000, and you start to go.
Once you hit that title, like, you'll stay there. They're not gonna
you won't get demoted.
You won't get demoted.
No. I mean, there's a very, I am a director. I thankfully have always been paid at least as a manager or a director. But if something happened, I could get paid as a lead CE one month. Okay. But I would still be a director. Okay. I would never get demoted. You never.
Can people promote above you, around you? Some companies
Sure.
That work for, no, I mean where. Think about it.
You can also jump levels. So I was actually never a manager. I went from master to director within a single month. Which was funny because when Gretchen texted me the first morning, or the morning of the first of the month, she said, congratulations, director. I'm like, what are you talking about? Like, I thought I was manager that month. I thought I had done it. Like, oh no, you skipped that altogether. Because I wasn't even focused on it. I didn't even have director highlighted on my refrigerator. So yeah, you can obviously promote ahead of me. That's what you're asking, Ramona. But
I just worked for a company once where it was really detrimental at that, because you basically lost everybody that was under you. So in other words, if I'm under you and I promote around you, you lost all the people.
Well, once you become a director, you separate from the director that you're under anyway.
Okay. I guess that was my
so it doesn't actually hurt anybody.
Okay.
Yeah, and we're gonna get to that. That's called generations. So, okay.
Is there anyone at the executive or national?
There are 2. Melody Monk, who is Holly's sister, and Sherry Woodard, who is Sherry Woodard. She lives in Tennessee. She's Yeah, Sherry is above me, so we're technically part of Sherry's executive directorship. Sherry and Melody did not become executive directors organically.
Oh.
So no one has done that yet. So Jess and I are really hoping that we will be the first ones to do that, which is why it's kind of wild because, I said to Melissa last night, like in so many of the things that we're doing, we're truly pioneers because nobody has ever done these things. When Veronica had her huge party 5 months ago, it literally was the biggest party that Trades of Hope had ever had. But when I had my party with my friend 2 years ago when I first started, I had over $1,000 party. It was the first over $1,000 party that Trades of Hope had ever had. Like they had to invent new hostess rewards for me because it didn't exist. So like things like that are happening all the time, and it's sort of a like, okay, well, what does this look like? And so the fact that nobody has organically achieved some of these things is interesting, and you're pioneers. I mean, there's a little bit of unknown playing out in that. So that was a good question. But there are no national executive directors at this point. Okay.
Might help for that. Yeah.
So I actually want to talk first about page 5. So if you want to flip to page 5.
I just thought you wanted to bring that.
Oh, no, it's okay. You can look up here. That's why I brought this. You could see. Basically, page 5 just defines personal retail volume, your PRV. And I'm going to talk. It's important to understand what your PRV is if you don't already. I just want to make sure that we touch on all of the terms tonight. Make sure that you understand what everything is. Basically, PRV is your sales. And it's 100% of your retail value of what you sell. So if you sell a scarf that costs $26 in the catalog, it's going to be $26 to your PRV total. So no tax, no shipping. It also does not include, if a new CE signs up with you, you don't get commission on her kits. They're non-commissionable. Any business supplies, anything that you buy through the CE store, whether it's a product or a business supply, does not count toward your PRV. So, to that point, I suggest that when you're buying product for yourself, don't buy it through the CE store. Buy it through a hostess party link so that you get credit for the PRV. You get the commission either way, or that way, so you're getting this, it's a wash. You're helping your hostess out. So it's much more beneficial to you if you buy products through a party link. Does that make sense? Mm-hmm. And that was something I didn't think about when I first started, and I was like, oh, wait a minute. And so the only thing that I buy through the CE store are business supplies, so catalogs and things like that.
Thank you.
There is not a monthly requirement for CEs to stay active. You don't have a minimum. The only minimum that there is $150 a year to remain an active CE. That's not very much. So that's good. And then once you're in the career track, once you're starting to build a team, in order to earn the commissions and the bonuses from your success line, you do need to have a minimum PRV of $300 a month. Which again, I mean, that's a very small party, a couple of very, very small parties, but that's the minimum. And of course, I mean, you don't want, if somebody is you wouldn't want me as your director and your sponsor or your, as your leader to just be sitting back and doing nothing. And, I want to have a business as well and be a model for you as to, how to do this and learn from each other. And so if I was just sitting back and spending $300 on product every month so I could collect a paycheck, that's not cool. Some people have to do it if they go, if something happens and they're struggling, then the flip side of that is, yeah, you can buy $300 of product and earn an income. Jocelyn, who is, some of you guys know Jocelyn Dose, she and her family just moved to Mexico. She's an amazing CE. She's a manager. She went to Haiti with me in May. An incredible woman. She's got 3 small children, and she and her husband and her 3 kids all just moved to Mexico to live in an orphanage, just like they finally went, I think, last month. And so she's not going to be doing a lot of trades pro parties, but she has built a really big business. She has a very big success line. And so what's lovely is that she is going to be able to earn a paycheck while she's in Mexico, living there and doing this incredible work at this orphanage for probably the rest of their lives. She can do a couple of online parties to earn her $300 in PRV, and then she gets that kind of stipend while she's living there. So it's a lovely situation, no matter how you slice it. And then it says you can see a running total of your monthly PRV on your dashboard, so that obviously shows you. Something that is important that it's deep within the CE agreement, but I think it's important to point out because I wasn't fully aware of it until recently, that so let's say you have a big team, like let's say Veronica, for example. Let's say Veronica kind of falls off the face of the earth and something happens and we don't hear from her. She's not having parties. She's not selling her $300 every month. Which would be horrible for so many different reasons. But
somebody come to my house.
Yeah. This is all just hypothetical. But if that happened for 6 months in a row, that Veronica was not active and not selling, then she does lose her team. Her team becomes my team because I'm her sponsor. So I would never wish that on you, but that's what happens. So I don't think that everybody is fully aware of that because I really wasn't until recently. But and that's again just to sort of protect the women that are on Veronica's team. It's not supposed to be a vicious thing. It's supposed to be if something does happen to Veronica, they still need a sponsor, they still need a leader, and that way it rolls up to the person that is above her.
And that's after 6 months.
After 6 months, selling nothing or not selling $300 every month. Okay, so does everybody understand PRV? Yeah.
What exactly is like the success line? What? I've heard it and I've listened.
Yeah.
But can you
we kind of interchange the words downline and success line. They're the same thing.
Okay.
Basically, it's you and everybody that you have sponsored and all of those people. Okay. That's your downline. That's your success line.
That's your success line.
Yeah.
You and the people you sponsor.
Yeah.
Okay.
So for me, Small Things Great Love, all of you are considered my success line.
Yeah.
Yeah. Or my downline.
Okay.
Yeah. And then it goes, upline is the other direction. So I have a small upline. Like my sponsor has a sponsor, and then her sponsor is Sherry. So there's 3 women left. And my sponsor has 2 CEs now on her team, me and another girl who I don't think she has a team. So, so she has me, which is really funny. So does that clear up PRV and okay. All right. So then I actually wanted to go back. How do I go backwards? I have to do escape.
You could just do, I think, the back arrow.
Probably just scroll up actually.
Yeah, there it is. Okay. Yeah, that's good. Okay, so I wanted to make sure that we understood PRV before we talked about the bonuses. So this is back on page 3. Every month, once you are a qualified CE, which means once you have sold $1,000 of product total over any course of time, you become a qualified CE. And basically what you're qualified for is earning bonuses. So even if you never did anything else, you never sponsored anybody, you never had a team, you never did anything, you just wanted to be a CE and sell product, you would always earn your 20%, and then you could always qualify to earn a bonus. If you sell $500 in a month, you earn a 2% bonus. If you sell $1,000 in a month, you earn a 3% bonus, and $3,000, you earn a 5% bonus. So in theory, you have the potential to earn 25% of your PRV every month as a qualified CE. And you could do that for the rest of your life, indefinitely. Bonuses get paid at the end of the month. So what you see in your e-wallet is the 20% that comes immediately, and then at the end of the month, and sometimes it can take up to a week, then your bonuses will go in there. Okay. And that also includes anything that you're earning from a success line will go in at the end of the month. Yeah.
On that e-wallet, if you go ahead and make a direct deposit, and it automatically goes there all the time, or do you have to tell it to do it, or what?
You create like a profile, and then so when you request an amount, it'll ask you to select a profile, and so you just select the same
So
one
it
every
doesn't
time.
send it to you automatically, you have to go in and say, I want that money.
You want this much sent to the, yeah. But if there's only one profile, you're just selecting that same one.
Right. But you have to tell it.
Yeah, otherwise it just sits in your e-wallet
Okay.
until it, because it costs, I think, 50 cents to do a transfer, so I tend to not, transfer, not that I'm worried about 50 cents, but I wait until it's a certain amount before I, plus it's more fun.
Yeah, it's okay to let it sit and grow. It's okay to let it sit.
You can use it for product too.
Yeah, and yeah, like you can use it for CE store, for supplies, yeah. You can pay with commission, which is nice. But yeah, you can leave it there for as long as you want, watch it grow and grow. I usually do a deposit into our checking account at the end of every month. You say, hey honey, guess what I just deposited? He calls me a sugar mama. No, I'm not kidding actually.
And those bonuses are based off your monthly PRV.
Yes. Yeah. Okay, let's go back to the Steve thing. Okay, so I don't want to talk, I'm going to skip that page altogether. So we're going to skip on to page, whatever this page is, the branch retail volume, 6. Okay. So then you start to recruit a team and bring on a sponsor. And, I was playing around with some scenarios just to try to give you some actual numbers, and it's hard because they're lower than they would be in reality, but just for example, Veronica as a master CE, let's say, she sold $2,000. She had 4 parties in a single month. They were average size parties, so she had $2,000 in sales. So she earned her 20%, she earned her $400, plus her 3% bonus, so she earned $460, right? Plus, yeah. Plus, as a master CE, she would earn an additional 4%, so whatever that is. So that's her. It ended up being like $520, I think, when I did it. If she had no downline, that's $520. But when you start to look at, well, what if she had the minimum requirements, which is 3 branches, and they each sold very, very simple, $1,000 even. When you do the numbers and play out kind of just a small team, much smaller than what Veronica's actually is, it's just like 5 or 6 women making having $1,000 in sales, it doubles Veronica's income. So she does her work for earns her $500, but her team that she has sponsored and grown and trained and taught, they have gone out now and done a couple of parties and earned their own commissions but Veronica, for training them and growing them and teaching them, has now doubled her own income. So it really does make a huge difference for your personal financial growth from this experience to start to sponsor, which is why we talk about it all the time. There are 4 parts of the business that you are growing: selling and having parties, sponsoring, booking, and continuing education. So those 4 things are all equally important, and you have to do them all to have a fully sustainable business. So sponsoring, and I'm the first one to say that sponsoring was challenging for me at the beginning. I was sort of on an island though. I was all by myself. I had a sponsor who was my very dear friend who had only ever sponsored me. So she didn't have a lot of, wisdom to pass on to me. So, plus I was just a little gun shy about the whole thing because I had a negative experience in direct sales about a decade before. And so I really just wanted to focus on the artisans and selling and not building a team at all. So I had a very, very, very small little team, even 9 months into my business when I went to the first retreat. I only had 5 women. And that was because nobody had ever really explained to me why it's so important to sponsor. Not just for the financial piece, but for our artisans, for the ripple effect that we're trying to achieve. And if I'm so passionate about these products and these women and what they represent, then I need to be passionate about sponsoring. So it all goes together. And sometimes it takes a while for somebody to find those words and be able to talk comfortably and from a place of sincerity and not feel like uncomfortable like I did as far as sponsorship goes. But, for some people it's a lot easier. For me it was hard. So, but here I am for somebody that it was hard, and I'm doing okay, and I'm still constantly sponsoring. So now we're going to get into what some of the definitions are of what happens when you build a team. So this is really a great packet because of the visuals. But basically, Mia is the CE, and Mia has sponsored 3 women. So those are her directs: Liz, Sue, and Kate. But what is cool, so when you're looking at this chart and you're seeing, okay, to become a lead CE, I need 1 branch with $500 in branch retail volume. Well, that doesn't mean that Liz by herself has to have $500 in sales. It means that Liz and anybody that Liz has sponsored has to have a total of $500 in sales, okay? So that's pretty doable, because as you go down and you look at, well, like what I have to achieve, I have to have 5 branches with at least 3,000 in branch retail volume, which even though I have 43 women direct to me, I don't always have 5 branches that hit that number. So it's very important, again, that's why you've got to just keep sponsoring, and finding the women that are going to catch the fire. But that's what a branch is. So each of these represents one of Mia's branches. So Mia her branches are killer. Like she's got girls. Kate needs to get on the ball a little bit. I don't know what's going on with Kate. She must be brand new. But Liz and Sue are doing great. If this was Veronica, Liz would be like Spring, and who would Sue be? Debbie. Okay. Yeah, Sue would be Debbie. So, Veronica needs to go talk to Kate.
Kate over here.
She'd be like, yeah. Single girls are great, right? Yeah. So that's what I call the girls who haven't sponsored anybody yet. You're a single girl, but that's okay. You can put a ring on it. You're gonna get yourself because it ends up being more fun when you have somebody else to kind of share this experience with too. Jillian just sponsored her first CE, so she's not a single girl anymore. Anybody else who sponsored one? Okay, Ramona has brought Mary Ann, which is great. And you sponsor, so you guys are building your own little branch, which is just awesome. Because that's what makes this not quite so daunting. Because when you're looking at it, you're thinking, oh my gosh, I need, 4 branches with at least 2,000. That's hard. That's 4 really solid parties. Well, not when that 2,000 is spread out over 6 people. Then it actually becomes very doable. So I just want to make sure that everybody understands that that's what a branch is, and that's what branch retail volume is. You don't actually earn anything off of the branch retail volume. It is simply a qualifying amount. Does that make sense? It is just a marker for moving up into ranks. You don't earn additional commission from your branch retail volume. So I think we should probably take a moment to look at this chart.
So there's no override.
What that means?
Override is like Mia would get a percentage of an extra income according to Liz, what Sue makes, and what Kate makes.
Yes. She's going to get extra income on her first level recruits and her second level recruits.
So it only goes
down. And her third.
So it goes down 3 generations.
Depending on her rank. But that's as far as it goes. Yeah. So let's look at this for a minute. So at the back of the main chart, so we can make sure we understand what I'm talking about.
So even though she won't get paid down to the 4, they still qualify.
They help qualify her so she can move up. And then eventually you do earn a team bonus, which will include everyone. But we'll get to team in just a second. Okay, so if you are looking at the chart again, so we talked, to be a CE, you just have to buy a kit, sell $150 a year. That's it. To be qualified and start to earn your bonuses, that means you've sold at least $1,000 and you're in the mix there. Then, once you sponsor someone, you are automatically on what's called the career track. It's not something, when I first started, I'm like, do I have to tell somebody that I want to be on that? Or is it, they're like, no, it's just automatic. You're on it. I'm like, oh, okay. So once you sponsor, you are on the career track, okay? And and you start to move up in rank. So you have, so Jillian has her first CE, Kate. And I'm sorry. So this month, did you promote last month? No. Okay. So this month, Jillian will promote to a lead CE because she brought on Katie at the beginning of this month. Yeah. Okay. Katie has at least $1,000 right now in sales. Almost there. Okay. So Katie's doing really well, which means that it qualifies Jillian. As a group, they definitely have $1,000 in sales, and so Jillian will promote this month to lead CE. So that's pretty simple. And what will happen is, if you look over to the other side, Jillian will now earn an additional commission from Katie's sales. So Katie's going to earn, have about $1,000 month. So Jillian will get 3% of whatever Katie's sales are. And that is because now Jillian is responsible for Katie and training her and reaching out to her, making sure that she has what she needs and that she knows how to do a party and she knows how to use the back office. And, so that additional time needs to be compensated. And that's where it's going to be compensated for Jillian. She's going to earn that additional percentage to compensate her. So then let's say next month, Jillian brings on somebody else. And she's got 2 branches. So she's now in the running and able to promote to an advanced CE. Because if you look, you have to have at least 2 branches to be able to promote to advanced. Each of those branches needs $500 in branch retail volume. And then as a group, so I guess I should define group, you need $2,500 in sales. Hold on. So group, just to be clear, is you and everybody in your success line. Okay, don't worry about these generational things yet. Okay, so Jillian's group is Jillian and Katie, and then maybe next month it's Carissa, or what's her name? Karina, right? So her little group of 3 needs $2,500 in group retail volume, okay, which is doable amongst 3 people. And then Katie and Karina both need $500 in sales. And then Jillian will promote again next month to advanced CE.
I don't understand the difference between, I thought branch was all of your people.
No, branch is like, Veronica is one of my branches.
Direct.
So I sponsored Veronica, right? And Veronica and everybody that she sponsors is one branch. Or everybody that's on her, from her down, is one of my branches.
The group is like the whole tree.
Yeah, the group is the whole tree, including me. The branch is, so like Catherine is a branch, but she's just by herself. So she's just one person and she's one branch. Jillian is a branch, but there's 2 people in her branch now. It's her plus one other person. So there you can have, so I have 43 branches because I have 43 women that are direct to me. But some of those branches are just one person. Some of those branches are 30 people. Does that make sense? Mm-hmm. Okay. And then group is you and everyone else. Then, I'll talk about team in a minute. Okay, so that should start to kind of clarify then, as you're looking now, what you have to do within each month to move up to each particular rank. Now that we've kind of defined everything. And then if you're looking over to the right, so if Jillian promotes to advanced CE next month, she will continue to earn, 3 things will happen actually when you go to advanced CE. On her personal retail volume, she can earn an additional 3%. So let's say Jillian sells $3,000 next month as an advanced CE. She's going to earn 25% plus her additional 3. So she's actually earning 28% just on her own personal sales. It's always important to, and this is why I will never stop having my own thriving business, because this whole plan is meant for you to continue to have a thriving business, personal business. It's not about somebody just earning a paycheck off of other people. That's not what we're doing. I will always work really, really hard to build my own personal business, and then also train and do all of the other things that I do as a director. So Jillian will be earning 28%, assuming she sells $3,000. She'll still get that 3% from Katie, and then if Katie sponsors somebody, then she'll earn a 2% commission from that person's sales. Okay. And then it just goes up from there. So you become a master CE. You have 3 branches. As a group, you have sold $5,000. And then you can look, you have the opportunity in your personal retail volume to earn 29%. You still earn that 3% off of your first level, 2% off of your second, and 1% now off of your third. And then you get to be a director. And this is why it's great. And it doesn't seem like much, but when you get to a director level, just look with me for a moment. You do need that 5 branches with $3,000 in branch retail volume. And like I've said, it's not easy. Even with a group as large as mine, it's not a guarantee. But so if you look, I still have a pretty strong business going on. I know that I have the potential to earn 32% commission on just my own personal sales. So I'm going to rock that. But then my percentages as a director, I can earn 5% off of all of my first level people. I have 43 of them. A lot of them don't sell. Don't think that I have 43 people that are like rock stars. I wish I did. But that's, at the end of the day, even though we're in a missional business, we're also in a sales business, and sales is about numbers. And you do have to play the numbers a little bit. You really need to, I will continue to keep building why, because people come on with a heart of gold and then it's just not for them, or people come on with the best intentions and something happens in their life, it's just stuff happens. So I have 43, but I intend to keep going. But I do, as a director, earn 5% off of that level. I earn 4% off of the next, 3% off of the third, and then I earn a team bonus, which is 1% of my team. So I want to back up and show you what team looks like. And the best way to describe team is that I'm a coach, so I'm not on the team. The team is everybody else, minus me. So I don't earn an additional 1% basically on my own sales. I earn an additional 1% on the total of all 150 people on my team. Does that make sense?
The only thing different between your team and your group is that you're not on
Is me. Yep. So, and the level at which you start earning a team bonus is director.
But what's the little dangle?
That's another director, which I haven't gotten to yet. Directors are not on your team.
In your team? Okay.
Yeah. And once you become a director, you're part of my group, but you're not part of my team.
Okay.
But if you look, the final little box there next to director, which is not something that I earn because I don't have a director on my team, but that 1.5% first director generation bonus, that is an additional percentage that I can earn once Veronica becomes a director and she's got her own thing going on, then I can earn. So even though she's not in my group anymore, I can still, she's still with me. and again, like, it's all about creating a scenario that is not competitive. It's actually, the whole point is that if I lift Veronica up and I lift you guys, and I do things like this and come out on a Monday night, and you guys come out on a Monday night, and we work and we learn and we grow and we build these businesses, we're helping each other and we're helping our artisans, and we're, so the scenario is great, and there's nothing that is, divisive about it, I think. So then it goes on from there. I won't break down the rest of it, because I think a lot of people in our group right now are really striving for that directorship. And like I said, it's just time. It's time that some people got there, and it's been, since last July. Questions?
So once you have a director break off, then you're just looking at that end of the chart there. That's all you would make once she breaks off as a director.
Yeah, I was using Veronica as an
Veronica,
example.
I'm sorry. So
Yeah.
if she breaks off as a director, then all of these other bonuses on her go away. You just only make that one 25.
Yeah, which is why, and I was talking to Marianne about this morning again, because I really want to make sure that I understood it. It's why it's so important to never stop growing. Because, I'm going to work to build Veronica up and build all of you up, because I keep saying Veronica because she's really close. And then I'm going to lose her. So I got to keep working and building you guys up, and those that are coming behind and that are showing an interest in, and really wanting to build this business. I'm going to, I'm going to get you there, and then I'm going to lose you, which is fine, because it's all about, it's like the story of the eagle's nest and that we heard at retreat. Like, I think that's such a perfect story for what all of this is about, that, a mother eagle builds this beautiful, soft, comfortable nest for her babies, and when they're born, they're laying on like down and feathers, and and it's all lovely. And then what the mother does is she slowly changes the nest, and she starts to pull out the feathers, and then they're laying on leaves, and they're not quite as comfortable, and kind of itchy, and then she pulls those out, and they're laying on like these small twigs, and it's like, that doesn't feel good. And then she pulls those out, and then they're laying on like thorns and rocks, and they're like, I'm out of here, and they fly the nest. And and I'm not trying to hurt you, but I want you to go and become directors yourselves and have your own. That's why you separate, is because you really then start to define yourself as a leader in this company, and build your own directorship and group. You will always be part of mine. I'll always be here for you. But I want to see you guys, fly the nest. So
when she breaks off, does her whole branch, do you quit getting for her whole branch?
it's still part of my group. So like if I'm an executive director, for example, and I need group retail volume of $50,000, she's still in that.
Oh, okay.
Once she has,
but I'm not earning, because branch retail volume and group retail volume are both qualifiers. You don't earn anything off of those numbers. They just qualify you to achieve a certain.
And so you still get all of her directorship sales for you to progress up. You still get credit for her directorship sales, you just don't get paid a commission other than the bonus.
Exactly.
Unless you're an executive director, you get all kinds of other bonuses to kind of compensate for it, I feel like. Because then your personal, it goes from 7
the personal goes way up.
Yeah.
As an executive, the personal is awesome.
So when she has 2 directors,
35%.
Her personal.
Yeah.
And I know you said this.
It's okay.
I'm sorry. So going back to your branch, it's always on number 2. So like an advanced CE, at least 2 branches with at least $500 in VRV. Is that each branch needs?
Yes, so it's not a total, it's $500 for this branch and $500 for this branch.
So that's why you're saying even with 43, sometimes it's hard to get that minimum
because I need 5 of those 43 to have $3,000.
Okay.
Yeah. And that's a really good question.
Yeah.
And it's something that sometimes you have to hear a few times and even draw a couple of
I
pictures
want
for
to
yourself.
record each next to it. So.
Yeah.
Maybe they could add each to that,
Yeah, at least 2 branches with at least $500 in VRD each. Yes. Yeah.
Just real quick, on the director, that first generation director bonus.
Mm-hmm.
So when Veronica becomes a director, you will always still earn 1.5% on her total, won't you?
Yeah. Yes. I don't know if it's her group. No, I don't know. Is it her whole? This was the question that I don't know if I got answered.
It says director bonus.
Well, and I would
But I don't know if
that's
it's
what keeps
her.
you, that's what keeps you involved in helping her continue to grow.
Yeah, so it must be on her whole.
Because the bigger she gets, the more 1.5% you get.
Exactly. Yeah. So it must be her whole group.
So I don't know if you've said this before, but when I become a director, I'm no longer a branch leader?
Yeah.
Interesting.
You're a little straggly thing on that.
Yeah, that's why you were outside the circle. Yeah, you were
cut off.
You were out of the inner circle. Yeah, I kicked you out of the nest.
You have to start your own. You get to have your own name.
Yeah, she's got
You become part of the forest.
Yeah.
You're a tree beside you.
But yeah, I mean, and that's why, I mean, you can start to see, I mean, and I can't even become an executive director until I have 2 directors. So I'm working.
We're coming.
Yeah, no, I know. I've been very patient.
But not really.
Yeah, we've got, but there's a lot. We're 3 months into the year. We've still got a whole lot of time. A lot happens in 6 months. So yeah, so that is, and if you, and yeah, so if you start to think about that, Debbie, I mean, that's where it becomes very, very exciting income potential for me and for you when you get there too. You can have and this was something, because you have first generation, then you have second generation. This was something that I got clarification on this morning, so I wanted to make sure that I understood. So basically, so if Veronica becomes a director, she becomes a first generation director to me. When? Did I say if? When? And then when Debbie becomes, so let's say Debbie did it next, she would be a second generation director to me. She would be a first generation director to Veronica because she's under Veronica. Directors don't have to be people that are direct to me. So like we have somebody right now on our team who's in Wisconsin who she's like 6 levels down from me, Sarah Feinsilver, and she is a rock star. And she could very well be one of the first directors in this team. And she's way down the line, but that doesn't matter. She could still be a first generation director for me. Okay.
So it's anybody in your downline
anybody.
that becomes a director.
Doesn't have to be somebody that I personally sponsored. Yeah. Yeah. Which is, you know,
I didn't know that.
yeah.
Anybody
in my whole 150. Somebody becomes a director, they are my first generation. Yeah. And then if somebody that and their downline becomes a director, they're my second generation.
Yeah.
So you can have multiple first directors.
You can have, yes, and that's what it says on this page. You can have an unlimited amount of first and second generation.
So Lillian on Debbie's team
Mm-hmm.
will be a director.
Mm-hmm.
So when she becomes a director, she's your second.
Mm-hmm. She'd be a first generation.
Now
If she does it before Debbie.
Okay. So then when Debbie becomes a director, does Lillian become second generation?
No, Debbie would become a first generation to you. Because when you think about it, Lillian would be like branching off. So she would be out of the mix.
Oh, okay.
So think about it. Even though she's down here, and here's Debbie, and here's you, Lillian becomes a director. She's a first generation director to you. She's off doing her own thing. Okay. Debbie becomes a director. Debbie goes off now. She's a first generation. Somebody in those groups becomes a director. They're second generations to you.
So it's kind of too deep is what they call it.
Right now, and I asked Marianne about that too. I said, well, is there such thing as like third generation? She said, well, not yet. But there will be. Should that scenario, when that scenario arises, which it will eventually. I mean, it has to. You know, when we have 100,000 consultants like some of the other companies, that will start to happen. But right now, it's not written in the plan because she's like, we're just not that close. So that when needed, there will start to be third and fourth, and, you know, that sort of thing. Yeah, wrap your head around that for a minute. Jeez. Okay. I'm not going to go through, because I kind of already did. The rest of this packet breaks down each of those levels like we already kind of talked through and just gives you kind of the visual. So again, this is a great document for you to have and you know, understand what we're talking about. And the visuals help you see the branches and that sort of thing. So at this point, I just want to, you know, take questions, more questions. We've already sort of started that.
I have a question.
Yeah.
Probably a really simple question.
It's okay.
When you look
Seriously,
at
any questions?
your e-wallet summary, it says retail value price, so that's the price of the item that's listed in the catalog, and then it says commissional value. What is that? Because when I try to do the numbers for the total minus tax and shipping of what I should be earning for a specific dollar amount party, that's not what it is. So it's actually a commissional value of the retail price that we're getting paid on.
Yeah, I couldn't figure out.
And
that
it's
number
really
either.
confusing.
Is it 70%?
It doesn't say how,
Because
if it's like $26, as an example, it's like $19 commissional value, and we're getting like 20% of the 19 instead of the 26.
No, you're not.
Yeah,
You get
no.
paid on the full retail.
You do.
And they call it commissionable value, but it must mean something else to
Well,
them.
so what I was gonna say is,
Because if you
That
add
must
your
be the
party
lower
and times it like 20%,
Mhm.
it does still come out to
I'm not
what.
seeing that.
Your PR is coming out. to
But I know what
20%.
you're talking about,
I
because
know.
it does come up with commissionable
It only
value.
shows up during the ordering process.
yeah, I've seen
That's
it.
where it shows up.
I did want to mention, because this is important too, that when we're talking about all of the percentages that you're earning from your first, second, third level commissions, those are based on 70% of their PRV, because they've already been paid commission. So there's 30% that's taken out of it. So like Veronica is my first level. So when I earn my, whatever.
So maybe the commissionable is our upline.
It might be
based off of
something to do, that's why I was
what they
asking if
get
it was
percentage
70%.
off of that.
Yeah, because it is about 70%.
Okay, and that would be
makes
what it is. It's that's gonna be then what your upline is able to earn.
Commission off of
Commission
that.
off of that, yeah. So
Not our
it makes
commission,
sense then that the
not
home
our
office would wanna
commission.
separate that and have a separate column to be able to see it, because there's two different values that people are. So you're earning from the full retail, and then it's just showing you what you're,
So you have $100 item.
Mhm.
The retail amount that's paid commission, basically you're
$100.
looking at the $100.
Right.
But if you're looking at you, for example, you're going to be paid on
$70.
Okay.
Yeah, that's what that part is.
because they've already paid a commission.
Right, they can't, like, double
It would
it.
double this.
Right. Yeah.
Yeah. Good question. See, it was a really good question. What else?
But it doesn't count for when you're doing just the what do you call them, how much you have to qualify. That's only just commission based, which is
That's the
probably
whole.
why they call it that. In other words, when you're qualifying for your level,
Mhm.
it's not the 70%. That's
No.
only just for.
That's
what
just
they
for the
pay.
payment, yeah, exactly.
So if they're earning, your branches are earning 3,000, you're not getting your 3% off of 3,000, you're
Correct.
getting it off.
Yeah. And actually, my husband just built me a really great spreadsheet, and once, some of you guys might already be interested in having something like this, but down the road, and I showed it to Fred, Gretchen's husband, and I'm hoping that he'll build something like that will be available to everybody, that you can just plug in. Basically, you can copy and paste your spreadsheet and plug in all the numbers, and it automatically shows you, breaks it all down, all of the earnings. It makes it 70%. It's great. So he did that for me. So now I'm able to just see much more clearly, like, what I'm actually earning, and because it's important for me, to understand is if you're going to build a business, you want to make sure, like, and then you can also see like who's struggling and who might I need to reach out a little bit more to this month, and who, you don't want somebody to get lost and not, touch base with them if they don't have any sales, something might be going on. It's usually kind of a red flag. So yeah. It's sometimes some of the things in our back office don't make it super easy to calculate out. I wish we had better reporting, and we're working. That's something that we're working on constantly. The vision team and the directorship, we're always talking about, the reports in our back office and how they can be improved. That's why that spreadsheet keeps changing, because now it has addresses on it, and now it has branch retail volume, and now it has. So these are things that the directors have been asking for. There's still more that I want. I still want to be able to sort by like Veronica and see just her people, or sort by, different larger branches and that sort of thing. But that's coming.
I've been trying to find a place where you can have a contact list. That doesn't exist, does it?
Well, I use the back office to email everybody. So you have a contact list of
Each individual party, but there isn't anywhere where it's all like.
Oh, you mean for guests and hostesses?
Yeah. If you wanted to reach out to guests and stuff, you have to actually go into that individual party and look them up.
Yeah.
In most sales businesses, you use a contact software, that where you keep track of everybody, their emails. There's actually not even a place to put the phone number in on our system.
I know.
Actually, you can do that in the whole marketing.
The whole marketing portal, but then
Right,
then
go
it
in
needs an
and
additional. You have to manually do it. I know.
Yeah.
These are all things that are not ideal, that are being directly
I just wondered
addressed.
because
Yeah.
I've searched for it and I can't really find a place where everybody all my guests are in one place, so if I wanna like reach out to them again, cause I know they bought
I know,
$100
that's-
worth of product.
That's why I keep everybody in a folder. I mean, it's not fancy, but
Well,
yeah.
yeah, that's just when you start with a new company,
Yeah.
that's just the growing thing, it's just something you have to decide that you're not gonna get worked up about because,
Because it's gonna change.
yeah, I was with
As soon as we get
a company-
comfortable with this back office, it's
Yeah, it'll
gonna be
change.
modified. I mean, they're looking right now very seriously at its different overlay, and they're also talking about completely different software. So,
Yeah, and then I was with the company 17 years and it probably changed in that time, maybe 6 times,
Yeah.
you know?
yeah.
And did a prototype when I went to online school. The school that I was at was actually, I was one of their prototypes. Same thing, it was so frustrating. I just learned how to use one software system and they would change it.
Yeah.
So whenever you're brand new, you just have to kind of go with the flow. It's hard
Yeah.
sometimes,
Or if you work in the school system.
but- Oh, yeah.
They love to say, well, now we're gonna take attendance on this program, now you're gonna do grades on this
Yeah.
program, and then tomorrow it'll be this. And,
So you're used to it, but
So,
I wasn't when I was doing the prototype with the school.
Yeah.
It was because I was actually learning how to use a computer, period.
Yeah.
I wasn't that computer savvy when I
Right.
was doing it. And it was really difficult to start all over from scratch, but yeah, you just have to know that.
And there's still things within our back office that I haven't really used much or explored much.
Figure out.
Yeah, I just kind of use what I know, and sometimes I'll venture over into something else. I'm like, oh, what's this report? And, some things I see value in and some things I don't.
My upline actually told me to contact the hostesses and tell them not to pay attention to the thing that comes from the company.
Yeah.
Is that what
The
you tell them?
hostess portal link.
That's so funky to say that
It
to
is.
somebody.
Well,
I'm
nobody
sure
ever asked. I never tell anybody not to use it, and some people do and some people don't. And
Yeah.
I give them the email that I want
You
you
give
to
them
send
that
out.
information.
Yeah, and so I've never
Which
had
is what you showed me.
Yeah, so I've never had anybody say, that's weird. Maybe they say it, but they don't say it to me. But yeah, and I can go in and see, oh yeah, they've actually used the portal. And some people, don't, so.
So you don't think it's necessary to say don't use it, just give them the information you want them to have and they can try both?
I used to say, you're gonna get an email and it'll have 2 links. One is very, very long and one is your party link. The party link is the one that you really need. The really, really long one is a tool that you can use to invite people, but most of the time those emails go to spam. So here's what I recommend doing: send out an email. Here's your
That's
wording.
the reason they don't want to use it.
Because it goes into
Because it
spam.
goes to spam.
Yeah, and they don't want
Because it's
somebody
an
to enter in all those email addresses.
I always send a zip file for the e-bikes
Mm-hmm.
that have them where they can make their own.
Yeah, I always recommend using a personal email. And now that we have the graphic that you've been invited to Party with a Purpose, and they've actually given us wording now that we can use, so they've actually, I think they're gonna get rid of the portal. I think it's on the way out. They're trying to encourage us to use other things. What else? Anything else? I mean, we've gone off of compensation, so we can talk about anything if there's another topic or something about back to compensation. I mean, do you see that it's really, so like now when you kind of look at this, is it a little bit less grief? Do you kind of see that it's actually pretty simple and manageable, and that if you do put this on your refrigerator and you kind of have it in the forefront of your mind that it's, it will happen. And, it's I keep talking about Veronica, but we've been on this journey, and she's had a lot of growth in the last 6 months and has, really worked hard to achieve, Master CE, and had some disappointments along the way. Were months where she was super, super close, and it was like, came down to like, a couple $100 or something. $42. Which it is, but I always say to her and to anybody who's in that, and even to myself, like, it's okay, because next month you start again, and in 6 months it'll happen like clockwork, because things change a lot in 6 months. Now that I've been a CE for 2 years, which really is not a lot of time, because when I break down my business into 6-month chunks and I look at the growth of my team and then and the growth of my income, it's staggering how much it has changed in those 6-month blocks. And I've told some of you before that I'm earning now more than I did as a teacher. And that's great. And this guy, I'm waiting for the next 6 months and the next 6 months and the next 6 months and what is it going to look like in 5 years? And that's pretty darn exciting to me. But don't get frustrated, I guess, is what my point there with, because even when you're looking at that and you still might think, you might understand it, but you might also still be thinking, that's, when you're looking at, group retail volume of $10,000, you're like, oh my gosh, that's a lot of sales. Not when you have 15, 20 women on your team, or 30 or 50, or,
Ours at 10.
Yeah, Veronica's at 10 this month. Crystal's at like 11 or 12. Mary's over 10. So it's very, very doable. And you have 30 women on your team right now, right? Yeah. So it seems like a really big number. I mean, now I'm staring down group retail volume of 50,000. But you know what? We're there this month already. So as far as me, qualifying for an executive director, I can check off number 3. I've done that. I've done number 1. I've done number 4. I just need number 2 and number 5. But, those are not impossible things. But what happens, it's like everything, I say it every time because it's so true. Impossible things they only seem impossible until they're done. And they are achievable when you work them every single day. And you're doing something small, medium, large, whatever for your business, but you're doing it every single day. And you're focusing on those 4 areas of selling, sponsoring, booking, educating. Continuing education, thank you. And when you do that day in and day out, then, things just happen. And then you get 6 months down the road and you look back and you're like, whoa, how did I got here? And then you look ahead to the next 6 months and you start again and you one step at a time and then you're looking back at the year. When we're at retreat next year and we're looking back and we're reminiscing and remembering all the things that we said we wanted to do, and then we're sitting there at the dinner on Friday night and we're like, we did it. Or we're all at the director's dinner on Wednesday night, we're like, you did it. And, I can tell you from actually doing it that it is doable. And I don't feel like I worked that hard. and I don't, sometimes I feel like it was kind of magic, but the only magical thing was that I did it every day. And I do it every day. Remember.
When she said she missed it by $42, are you saying when you were talking about being able to sing down, like the company doesn't have a way for you to track, so you could call someone and say, if you get another $42 in sales? Or...
No, we knew it. It was the night of, it was sort of like the apocalypse night, where the January 31st night.
No, that was a different month.
Oh,
she tried and she got close.
Dude, let me buy somebody.
Well, I thought about it, but
next time,
I really wanted it to happen organically.
Right.
So I could have just put in a $42.
If it were me, I would have just gone in and bought a couple of bowls.
It was close.
Oh, absolutely, yeah. You have your, now that you have it, you'll start to see. You have
It
a
shows on the
spreadsheet.
how much each of your.
Yeah, you can see what your branch retail volume is,
Well,
and then you
but
can go
for
into
no
the
other
spreadsheet.
reason, just to call them and say, did you realize how
Oh
close you
yeah,
are?
oh please, I send messages at the end of the month because I sit there. That's why I was going blind looking at the spreadsheet today, trying to. But that's why I want to sort by different things because I want to be able to see how close people are because I have to kind of like extrapolate it from the spreadsheet myself, which gives me a headache sometimes, but I want to know, like, oh my gosh, Veronica's $42. I need to call Jill and tell her she needs to go out there and, sell 2 bowls or buy 2 bowls or whatever and, get her there. And so, yeah, you can absolutely track it. And I do a lot of messaging towards the end of the month, like, hey, do you know how close you are to being a master CE and, that kind of thing. Because it's fun, it's exciting, and it's like, because you achieve that rank and then that's your title for life. And you get a really cool term when you go to the retreat.
I have a question because there's so many people here that have a team, but when you have, so I hit my 90-day goal, I have 3 CEs, and I have a brand new one that I hired yesterday that's super on fire, and I'm excited about her because I want to work with her, but I still love my other 2, but they haven't done anything. So my question is, you hire them, and I sponsor them. I respond to them, and I always send a nice email with customer service, all this information that's important. I spend so much time going over the 30, 60, 90 days, and I want them to own it. And I don't want to feel like I have to baby them. I've kind of given them everything they need, and then I feel like, and then it doesn't happen. Like it hasn't happened for my two, and I feel like I'm failing as a leader.
No, okay, let me tell you, because when you only have 3, it feels that way. It feels like, like I am personally responsible for everything that this woman does, and if she fails, I fail. You know, like you feel so invested, and that's how I started. And even when I got a little bit bigger than that, and I started to feel like, oh wait, there's 10 now, like I can, and what, I'm gonna fail them all, and this one's not doing anything, and I really, you totally feel that way. I'm sure, Debbie's laughing because
you're like, what's
but
so
here, listen, you do exactly what you did. You give them the welcome email. You show them where the 30, 60, 90 day. You offer to set up a phone call to meet with them, to share information. And then you can only lead a horse to water, right?
And then you want to drown.
No. you absolutely, and that was where I had to because I was taking it. It's okay. I was taking it
Wave to the camera.
She'll put like a black box.
Wave to the camera.
And like change her voice. But you do eventually have to just let it go. Like you can't
Just change it to I want to love them.
Yeah, because and you love them anyway. People are good. That's why I'm saying I have 43 women that I have personally sponsored, and I am struggling to hit some of these numbers because I don't have 43 directs that are working. So what happens again? We're talking about numbers. Is that 20% of your team do all the work. So 80% are going to do nothing. So right now you have 3, so you're lucky if you get one that works. That's your, that's 30% of your team.
So but just baby steps for me, do you help them? Do you sit there and help them create their replicated site?
Well, so some people need more help than others. So like something that Veronica does, I haven't really done this, but I think it's a great idea. Is set the expectations from the beginning. Like, what are you going to need from me? Are you going to need me to, do you want a weekly phone call with me? Do you want to meet face to face, every week? What, do you want me to sit down with you? Because you'll know pretty quickly, like, she's going to need more tech help. She's going to need more hand holding with this. She's going to need to come to 3 of my parties before she's going to be ready to do a party of her own, Or is she going to be somebody who, I got this, and just goes off and does it? Because you're going to get everything in between. And, I think that you just you're building a relationship, and that's everything that we're doing with this is building a relationship. Just asking, like, what can I do for you to help you achieve? Like, what else can I do? What are your questions? Where are you struggling? And if she's like, I'm good, I got it, then you can't, okay. Yeah. And you do just have to, everything is there. There, the back office, and you will burn yourself out if you're pouring so much into other people that are not willing to do anything for themselves, and that's kind of like the harshest scenario of it. Sometimes
some people are not producing, not for lack of effort, they
right.
just haven't found their groove yet, but then some people are just not, they maybe didn't realize that it was a business.
And that's why, back to the very beginning, just make sure when you're sponsoring people that you're really upfront about, this is a mission, but it's a home party business that is achieving a mission. So are you, you understand that we do parties and we do this and you have, and make sure that she understands. Because I have certainly signed on plenty of people that probably should not become compassionate entrepreneurs. So, and because I just didn't do my job to explain what they were getting themselves into to the point where it, they probably signed up and maybe they did understand and, whatever. I can't blame myself for all of it, but
Like
I
I said earlier, life changes and people,
Yeah.
things happen and situations occur.
yeah, there's so many
Out of your control.
shades of gray, dare I say, and
Variables.
yeah, there are, because it's people. I mean, I talk to my husband about this all the time. Like, I have learned so much about people in the last 2 years. I mean, it is fascinating, the world that we live in. I mean, between hostesses and party guests and CEs, and I mean, everybody's like, I'm never surprised anymore, because there's always something else that's going to come up. It's crazy and wonderful. You know, it's an enriching part of life, you know, and so you just have to not take it on to yourself as personal. If you have done, here are the tools, you've made yourself available.
I know what I did
That's
differently with the CE that I hired yesterday was the recruiting.
Sponsor.
The sponsor. I come from a different background.
I do.
Okay. It's my sponsor, the new person I sponsored, my new business partner. I use the recruiting brochure, and it has tons of questions in there. And I didn't know her. I actually met her at Red Lobster, and I had like a scarf on. And she was like, I love your scarf. And I asked her, can I tell you the story? I did Erin Woods. And then I gave her my business card, and I offered her the opportunity to see the outline catalog. She went and bought some stuff. And she called me 4 days later. She had read everything and said, I read all the artisan stories. I want to be a compassionate entrepreneur. She already knew the language. I was like, okay, well, can we schedule a time? Because I was like, I have to pray about this, because this is like, okay. And, but it helped me, what I realized is it helped me capture her why. And I know that why is what I can always refer back to help her get right back on track. And for all my CDs, I have to make sure that I keep that in the forefront of my mind, to make sure that I know why they're doing it, and to help continue to remind them what drove them from the very beginning to get them back to where they're passionate about achieving it for that why.
And I have people that I kind of, they're on like a 6-month schedule or a 4-month schedule, where I haven't heard from them in 4 months, so I'm going to go ahead and send my 4-month check-in text and see. And then I get nothing back, and then I wait another 4 months, and then I send another one. And, and I continue to reach out. Sometimes I've heard back, like miracles, I fall out of my chair, and they're like, oh, we haven't forgotten about you, or I haven't forgotten about you, so, it's just still not a good time. It's like, okay, whenever it is, I'm here, just let me know. But so I still love them, like Ramona said, like I love every person on this team, regardless of whether they're active or not, because there was some relationship there from the beginning, and I understood their why. I wish that their why enabled them to create a business, but it didn't. But they still bought product, and still, so it's going to happen. It's just.
I think we're also passionate about what we do, and we get so excited and we love it so much that we want that other person to have what we have.
Absolutely.
And then that's where that part of that frustration gets there too, because you want her to experience what you're having.
Exactly.
Yeah.
Exactly.
And you know how joyful and how great it is.
So speaking into all that, like, if you go to a party, you have someone really excited, do you encourage them to go sign up that night? Do you tell them to, pray about it, talk with their husband, whatever, and let them decide on their own, just follow up with them,
Yeah, because everybody's going to be excited at a party.
Right.
Everybody's, there's going to be, that's going to be like the height of the emotional reaction.
You don't want to bring your laptop and sign it.
No, I would not do that. I would not be the way
Unless it's
that
the very end of May.
Right. Unless it's
To
Veronica.
get to the leadership retreat.
Right. Oh, yeah. Then I'm signing my mom and my sister on it. They're going to get the email. Congratulations.
I laughed so hard because I was thinking of sending my mom up to.
Oh, just be like, I'll get there 30, 60, 90 days for them. I'll do it. I gotta go to the leadership retreat. It's mortifying. I've already got the sales. I just need the seed. I know. It's like, can we not have like a little, a pass? But no pass. But I do. So I would not suggest doing that because then it's so emotionally driven, right? So what I like committed, and so and And I've become very cautious and slow about the way that I'm approaching sponsoring because I have so many women that don't do anything. I'm trying
So it
to
is better to
prevent
just
that.
talk with them,
Yep.
check with them.
Now, you don't want to wait too long.
Right.
So you want to, you're at checkout, you're talking about it, they're very excited. Awesome, here's the CD packet, go home, share it with your husband or whatever, and, read it over and let's talk tomorrow, or let's talk.
Schedule a time.
Yeah, if it's Friday,
Yeah.
let's talk Sunday.
Just like the party,
Yeah.
schedule a time to meet with them.
And so don't wait long, 24 to 48 hours, or like early the next week or whatever.
Right.
And really try to, see where they are, where their thoughts are.
My next question has started to be, do you want to use hostess dollars to buy your kit, or do you want to buy your kit outright?
Yeah.
Because if they want to use their hostess dollars, we're booking a party right then.
Yeah.
If they want to buy their kit outright, it's a different conversation.
Then you can, it's like you just want to build the relationship and start to understand right away where they're coming from. If they have done a direct sales business for 20 years and they got it, then you can move a lot faster.
Yeah.
There's not going to be the same if they've never done anything like this, or they're, you just want to figure out where they are in life and, what their situation is, and try to give them the best, because you want them to have the best start possible. You don't want to see anybody fail. Obviously, you want everybody to experience what you're experiencing. I mean, that's what your goal is. It's hard when they don't, but you want to make it possible for them to have the best scenario.
I think the people who see the business possibilities are probably going to be your stronger recruits. So not all, I won't say that 100% of the time, but I think that someone is joining only because of their passion for helping others, you have to have a little more patience with them. But someone who understands the downlines and all of that, and look at this plan and go, oh my gosh, this company is so small, and see the potential in it.
Absolutely.
Those are the people that you probably get a lot more success.
And there's everything in between, I hope, right now. And not that it's a problem, but part of why I'm presenting it in a different way and I'm talking about it to you in a different way now is that I do want you to, and everyone to understand that it is a business.
It doesn't mean they have to all be directors. You don't,
Yeah,
but if you don't even let them know that the opportunity exists.
Yeah, that you do nothing for the artisans unless you are willing to do a small, sustainable business, one party a month, you're part of it, but it's nothing. You're not, I don't care how much you cry over the stories and the videos, you're not doing anything to actually help.
I have another question. So I have a couple of people at work that have purchased items, and they love it, and they haven't really committed to wanting to have a party, but they want to come to a party. So then what do you do with those? Do you have your own party? Do you have your own party? You just
if you've got 5 of them, have a party, yeah.
I had one, I just invited them to somebody else's party.
And
She wanted to book a party, so.
And how about the people that I do the Erin Woods? If you book a party tonight, you get to take one of these gorgeous Guatemala coin purses with you. And like the month of March, I had like 5 parties booked, and like it just went to crap. Oh my goodness, I'm streamlined. Like every one of them rescheduled, and I want to know how long do I have to wait before I start asking for my coin
She's going to
purses
start
back?
speaking Spanish.
Try to guilt it.
Have you ever gotten a coin purse back?
I know, I'm about to. That's 5 that I gave out this month that I haven't, so it's like,
They'll give it to them until they have their
it's a
party.
okay. That probably keep them a little bit committed and connected. How's that coin purse working out?
Follow up.
Follow up.
So they rescheduled, or they
they
don't walk out the door unless there's a date on the calendar.
Yeah, exactly.
They don't get the bag.
Exactly. And they were all on the calendar, and they're like, one rescheduled and then scheduled again.
Okay.
And she's like,
That's fine.
things are just crazy, and I'll call you. And I said, no worries, I understand. I'll follow up in a couple of weeks. I didn't want to leave the ball in her court. I wanted it to be clear that I was going to call you back, because I'm going to knock on your door with my foot. But it's just like, okay, so I mean, I don't want anybody to feel like I'm stalking them.
Wow.
But you know, you need commitment.
I have pushed the edge of stalking so many times. I'm quite certain. And I've never had anybody say, you know, back off, lady, or anything like that. If anything, the response I usually get is, I am so glad that you stayed on me, or I'm so glad that you kept in touch. You know, I've just had this, and this, and this, and this, and this, and this going on, and you know, it's been 7 months, but now I'm ready to do the party. And I'm not even kidding. I will reschedule a party 6 times. Because if they have a coin purse, we're doing the party. I don't care if it's next year, we're doing the party. So, I mean, you just say, okay, no problem, I will call you in 3 months, there's gonna be a new catalog, great, you missed this catalog altogether, we'll just do the next one.
So how do you guys, do you have like a tool, do you put it on your calendar as a tickler? I mean, what's your follow-up process? Because that's something that's a weak point for me, and I know that I need to get a
I have
better
my folders system, yeah.
Have you listened to Booking Magnet? You need to listen to her.
Yeah, I have. I
about
listened to it again because that was like the 30 or 60 days. So.
Yeah, I think I share about my folder system now.
So you have like a follow-up folder.
Yeah, I have a future parties, open parties, CE leads, specials, and people that are.
In that one future parties, you could actually have, you know, months in there too, so that you know which month to call them.
Yeah, and I usually have written on the top of their order forms, you know, like call in August or whatever we agreed on, and that's where I make notes, like email, and then sometimes I have like 6 dates, you know.
It's on camera.
Yeah,
We got it on camera.
I mean, you can use like Outlook, like that.
Because it's like when I write it on the calendar and then I turn the page over to a new one, it's like, you know, I have to constantly go back to maybe the folders and colors.
Yeah. Anything else? What time is it? Probably late. Oh, it's 9. Okay. That's about when we said we would end. Thank you guys so much. Thank you again, Debbie, for having us. And our next meeting is April 13th, and that's with Mary Ann. I'll let you know the location as soon as I know it. And that's maybe just more. It's gonna be training, but it's gonna be training with Mary Ann. The theme for April is, you know, just your garden and your foundation of your business and building your business, and you know, it's a huge garden metaphor. So prepare yourself. I did it last year. It's actually the first repeated theme, so it's gonna be make you nauseous. But yeah, so Mary Ann's gonna.
So most of the team wasn't part. We weren't part.
I know you weren't there, so I figured, yeah, there were like 9 of us. That was it last April. So here we are. So anyway, thank you guys so much for coming. Thank you for the guests who came tonight. Bless you for sitting through that. I know that was really dry and boring. Usually our team meetings are a little, you know, last time we had the founders here, but it was tonight you just got, you know, me and compensation plan. But I hope this was beneficial. Hope you actually sat through the whole video. If you did, or think of some kind of thing I can tell them if they sat through the whole video. If you sat through the whole video, email me right now, and I will do something for you. I don't want to commit to too much in case like 40 people watch it. Email me. ErinLboys@hotmail.com. It's like a chain letter. Like, we'll see. It's gonna be like magic. Okay. Good night. Thank you. All right. Good night. Thank you guys. All right.